Hey guys, Jared here with Kill Devil Diesel, and I wanted to talk to you about the little montage you just watched. So this is an all-billet 6.4 Powerstroke that we just finished up with our good buddies at Rudy's. And so if you don't know, follow Rudy's. They have the world's fastest Powerstroke. This thing runs deep into the fours, and we're hoping to go even faster now that we have a billet block that we can really lean on. So to get this done, we partnered with really the best of the best in the industry. We partnered with Warren Diesel on their billet block. And then we took our Icon cylinder head technology, import technology, and went to Jeremy Wagler to partner with them on a few different things. And so the result is an all-billet 6.4 liter Power Stroke. So of course there's a little bit of weight savings with billet, but the main advantage, of course, is that it's actually stronger than the factory cast iron. And you might think, well, aluminum is kind of a weaker material than iron. And iron is harder, but it can be more brittle. And at really high power levels, we see the factory blocks will just rip and break apart. We actually did a video on this, a couple months ago. Go feel free to go back and check that out. It shows some of the failures we've had with the blocks at crazy high power levels. The Rudy's team is somewhere north of 2,000 horsepower, and the factory blocks just don't live very long at that power level. So again, Warren Diesel, beautiful billet piece here from our buddies over at Warren Diesel. So we got the block as a bare block, and then went through and did all the finished machine work on it. So we machined it for our sleeves, finished out the lifter bushings, we put the cam tunnel and crank tunnels in it, got our sleeves in it, our firing kit, all put in the block, and should make for a pretty robust package. We actually got an oversized giant cylinder sleeves that we cut down to size to drop into. There's the sleeves there to drop into the block. And then we machined the sleeves for fire rings, got our finished boring done, torque plate honing. And so a few of the things are a little different on this than a regular production engine, obviously, other than the billet aluminum. The honing is different. We'll want even more valley. If your hone is created of peaks and valleys in your cylinder walls, we want deeper valleys to hold more oil to help keep the rings alive. Of course, we use a pretty hard ring in this engine to help keep everything alive from our buddies at Total Seal. Anyway, then the block, basically, I went through and did all the finish line boring, final wash, etc., and then everything's ready for assembly. On the cylinder heads, I mentioned earlier that we partnered with Jeremy Wagler and the gang over at Wagler Competition Products. And again, these guys have basically done the cylinder heads on basically all of the fastest Cummins and Power Stroke guys, in the world, with few exceptions. And so one of the things that, we like the way the Icon heads performed, but at that 2,000 plus horsepower level, we needed a billet head for the extra rigidity. And we wanted to partner with Jeremy on something real special in the combustion chamber he's done for years. And I can't give away all their secrets, but you can see here that this has a ductile puck over the combustion chamber. And so instead of individual valve seat rings, four little seat rings per cylinder, this is one giant slab of ductile that gets pressed into the cylinder head there. And what that does is it's a lot more mass to help absorb heat than the individual seat rings. And, so it should give us the most durable combustion chamber with all the best properties of ductile iron in the combustion chamber, where we need just maximum durability at that power level. But the rest of the head is billet aluminum, and that allows us to, of course, take a lot of the weight out. There's some heat dissipation benefits there that are really good. And so we got the seat area as blanks from Wagler, and then we went through and put our CNC Icon series valve seat profile in them. And so these will get a 2 millimeter oversized intake valve, and I think a 2.5 millimeter oversized exhaust valve. So we already have lots of documentation from Rudy's before running the Icon heads that there's some good performance gains to be had with the ports and the swirl that we've done on the Icon heads. And now the main difference, of course, obviously these are billet, so all the rigidity in the world, no water jackets at all. And then on the rotating assembly, of course, we used Wagler rods. We used a set of forged pistons that we've had. They actually ran them last year. The pistons were still in good shape. Again, a testament to their tuning and making everything live. So this went together with a set of Total Seal rings. And so Nathaniel, who's the driver and basically runs the Rudy's race program, one of the hardest working guys in the racing industry, one of the hardest working guys I've ever worked with. And so Nathaniel drove. They're about 4 or 5 hours away from us. So Nathaniel drove up early this weekend, and he and I built the engine together. We got it to a short block, and then he loaded everything up and headed back to um, back to the Greensboro area. And, I say they're one of the hardest working guys we've ever worked with. He left here at 7 or 8 p.m. That evening, and I know he didn't get home until probably 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And the next morning at 8 a.m., he's sending me pictures. He took it as a short block. And the next morning, he's sending me pictures at 8 a.m. with the cylinder heads and the rockers and the valve train and everything on it. And it's just such a hard working team. And they actually won their class last year, and it was very well earned. There's, like I said, there's no one that's going to outwork Rudy's, and I'd be willing to bet on that. So we dropped the crank in again, factory crankshaft. We got something in the works on that more later. This got Wagler rods, the forged pistons we talked about, obviously the billet block. There's a couple other new products that you'll see here that at the time of this recording aren't on the website yet, but if you're watching this, they'll be on the website real soon. So that is a crank flange adapter bolt. And some more on that in a minute. But here you can see this is actually back at the Rudy shop. And so they brought the short block back, had the heads, valve train, their fuel system. I think they use DDP injectors. And so they got all this laid out. And you can see it takes a firing kit with a graphite head gasket. We're good friends over at Flat Out. And this is a package we can do on the factory blocks too. We can do the same kind of firing setup on a factory block as well. And then, of course, Jessel Valve Train. They've been running the forged steel rockers for years now. And of course, ARP head studs, keeping everything locked down. And so this is our crank flange kit I was talking about a second ago. So this is Nathaniel and I have talked about this for years and years, and finally partnered with our buddies over at P1. They're a fastener company made here in America. And so we drew up a stud and sent them the prints for a stud that we wanted to do. And the advantage of a stud, kind of like a head stud, as you can get a little bit more clamping load out of it than a bolt. And the design of each bolt actually acts like a little dowel pin. So the bolt itself serves as the dowel pin to help locate the rear hub on the back of the engine. And then with the better material than most of the stuff that's out there currently, we can get way more, like 18,000 pounds of clamping force to hold that rear hub. And if you're not familiar with 6.0s and 6.4s, they had a kind of a rear hub here you can see on the back of the engine. Ford says never to remove it. We remove it on every engine we build. And there's bolts available on the market that are fine. We want to do a stud for the competition and really high horsepower guys. And that stud is going to give us way more clamping load. And again, then those bolts will act as a dowel pin, and that's to help prevent fretting on really high horsepower, 1500 plus horsepower stuff. Will get fretting in between the hub and the crank gear. So this is something that Nathaniel and I have talked about for a long time. Fitting that he gets the world's very first set, and they'll be going on the website very soon. So anyway, this was a really cool project to be involved in. Again, it's a huge honor to partner with, the other folks in the industry. Warren Diesel on this beautiful billet block. Wagler did beautiful work on the cylinder heads, and of course, the Rudy's guys I know are gonna do something really special with this. And so this is going in the truck now, and we hope to see it out this year. Definitely come out to the Rudy's Diesel event in Rockingham, and you can see all this here in person. So at Rockingham, North Carolina, coming up in April, and you won't want to miss it. There's got a lot of new changes to the show this year. They're allowing gas and diesel, and I think they're going to have monster truck rides there. So all kinds of cool stuff going on at the Rudy's Diesel event. Definitely don't want to miss it. And of course, we all hope this will be there, and we look forward to seeing what they can do when they can really lean on the power plant without worrying about blowing up the factory block. So anyway, thanks for watching. We wanted to do kind of a deep dive on this. It's a really special project with everyone involved. Again, huge thanks to Jeremy Wagler and those guys for knocking the cylinder heads out of the park. Huge thanks to Jesse Warren and their team for producing a beautiful billet block here. And again, Nathaniel DeLong, the hardest working guy in motorsports. And I know that's saying something, but they've earned their win they got last year, and we hope to see them on the podium again this year. So if you have any questions on anything you've seen here, drop it in the comments. And anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great day.